Welcome to Meanwhile at the Castle. I'm Queen Deborah.
I'm Queen Emily.
And we are queens of our castles, keeping the domestic arts alive. It is October 13th, 2021, and this is episode 64. So today we have, let me think. We have life update.
Yep.
Then we will show finished objects. Then we will show progress on works in progress. There we go. It has been a while. I'm a little bit rusty. And then we will have our Kindness is Like Sugar segment, and today that will be by Emily, and that's where we share small acts of kindness that we have witnessed or experienced. Sometimes big acts of kindness because you just have to, but to spread a little bit of joy and love. And we'll have some shop news and then the end. Okay.
Sounds good. So life update, right?
Yep.
All
What's
right.
up?
So it's been a very eventful few months for me. 3 days after we recorded our last podcast, I had a major health problem that came up, what I would call a crash. And it's been it's been almost 3 months now. So it's been a rough time in a lot of ways. I have chronic fatigue syndrome, and a lot of the times I'm really good at the right balance and pacing and everything that I need to do in order to live the very, very, very busy life that I have lived. And I wasn't good at it this year. And I think that we all know the last couple of years have been pretty rough. So I think combination of all of that and some additional things in my own life just kind of came together. And I ended up mostly bedridden for almost 2 months. And I've been very much improved over the last few weeks. So I feel like now I'm not living in the major chronic fatigue crash. If any of you have dealt with chronic fatigue or have a family member or a friend, that has dealt with it, you'll understand what that means. But for me, it means that I can't be upright for very long. I get extremely dizzy, and it also can sometimes take away my ability to even speak or show emotion on my face. I just get completely Deborah.
Blank. I
get completely blank. Everything's going on inside, but you can't see it on the outside.
Yeah. It's like when the computer goes to sleep.
That's what happens. I just power down.
It's yeah. And it's kind of like you're here and you're wilting and then you're done.
Yeah. And it can just happen mid conversation, and so it's been pretty crazy. So just dealing with that has been hard. But then I think one of the biggest things is that it's really shined a light on the fact that I have to make major changes in my lifestyle. And I've always been somebody who's very, very involved in everything, so I'm very involved in my church and very involved in our homeschool community and multiple aspects, and just all kinds of things, and running my business and everything. And so a lot of things I've decided to put them down. So I have, it's been a kind of a lifestyle overhaul for me in a lot of ways. And it's meant that as I've been improving these last few weeks, I'm living a very slow and gentle life, which has been very, very good for me. And it's been really challenging at times because I still have that part of me that thinks I should be able to just go and do everything that I usually do. But instead I'm just not doing that. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah. So I think it's an adjustment, a huge adjustment for me. It's a huge adjustment for people who are used to me kind of being the person to run everything. And sometimes that is a adjustment of expectations. But it's been a really good thing. So that's been where we've been. That's where, anyway.
Yep. Yeah.
Definitely a lot of mental health aspects to this, not just physical health. Kind of realizing and coming face to face with some mental health issues as well. So there's been a lot of that going on. But anyway, the whole point of it, it's been really hard and it's been really, really positive. And so that's kind of where we are.
Good job, Emily.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, in our house, I've had not chronic fatigue, but also dealing with a lot of mental health challenges, and have been working to also make some changes which have helped. I'm really glad that I finally have an appointment next week with a specialist. I'm thankful there. That's been a long time when I made the appointment, and they're like, oh, the soonest we have is longer than a month. And I just was like, I don't think I'm going to make it that long. And so I'm really glad that I have. We're only a week away. That's a good thing. Next week is Ella's 18th birthday. So my second child is going to be 18.
Oh my word.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was looking at my youngest, and I was like, when did she turn 18?
I know. She looks so grown up.
Oh, my goodness. It's just... Actually, we've gotten to this point, and I'm kind of like, are you guys ready to be out yet? 'Cause I'm like, come on. Like, let's just finish this. Except for them, those of you with adult children know that when they move out and move on, it's just as much.
There is just
as much concern and worry and involvement. So
and care
in different ways. So
and a lot less ability to influence.
Do anything about anything, but just love. So
yeah.
So that's kind of what's going on. Ella wants to. So at our church in our youth group, when they are 18, they move into the adult women's group called Relief Society. And the youth group, they are called Young Women's, self-explanatory. They are having a retirement party for Ella so she can move in with the old ladies.
So cute.
As old ladies. So they asked Ella what she wanted to do. For Claire, they played bingo. And they had spaghetti because that was a favorite of the old ladies. So anyways.
Oh no, I've been craving spaghetti like all the time lately. What does that say?
I mean, we're the old ladies now. So anyways, so they asked Ella what she wanted to do, and she says, I want to organize our closet and have potatoes.
The young women's closet.
The young women's closet with all the supplies. She's like, have you guys seen it? It's a disaster. And she's like, and so for her party, she's going to organize the closet while they all go play games.
Oh my word, that is so Ella.
And then they said, what kind of donuts do you like? And she said, I like potatoes.
I love Ella.
Oh.
She's so great.
She's funny. She is really funny.
I celebrated my birthday last week. That was really fun. It was really nice. And also got to go to a Shakespeare play this last week. There's a Shakespeare festival in Cedar City, Utah here that is actually, people travel from all over to come to it. It's an amazing Shakespearean company. And we went and saw Cymbeline, and it was phenomenal. It was so good. So that was really fun too. And I also have to share, Isaac is almost ready to get his driver's license. And that's happy.
Hallelujah.
Yes, he's a very responsible driver. He's a little bit timid still. So that's, sometimes a little scary when you're driving with him. When I say go, no, go now, go now.
Like, speed up. Faster.
But anyway, I'm like, I guess I should talk about other news. There are other good things other than, guess what? I've been sick. But sometimes those things seem to be overshadowed. There's lots of good things.
There's been a lot of good things, but
Yes.
That's the big thing. Everybody's wondering, where in the world have you been? There you go.
Right. Yes.
So,
and I have to say that the fact that it's fall is the best. Like literally every day I wake up and I go, oh, it's fall. I'm so happy. And we've had some very cold temperatures the last couple days here. Very cold for this time of year. And so it's just cozy inside. And
it's delicious.
it is. Yes,
it
is.
Delicious.
It is so lovely.
Well, let's move on to
All
what
right.
everybody's here for. Some works in finished objects.
Okay.
I'm gonna start with one. I'm wearing it.
I'm
wearing
so pretty.
Okay, now let's see. Okay.
There's not a lot of room to maneuver
No,
right
not a
here.
lot of room, but look at my cute overalls, and I'm not a conductor. A train conductor, because I'm wearing the blue and cream ticking, but
So
I posted a picture of these on Instagram yesterday, and it was like the back, and you could see like the button detail, but I didn't post a picture of the front because the pictures were awful. So, so I don't want to share awful pictures of me. Don't care if you want to see the overalls. So I made this top first from fabric that I got at the thrift store, and it was just enough to make this top, and it's this Swiss dot in a semi-sheer fabric, and it's just a cotton, but I can tell why it was at the thrift store. After I made it, I noticed, you can't really see unless you're focusing, some like mess ups in the dots, but
super
can't
cute.
really tell. So I used a costume pattern. I was a wench apparently when I made this. I used this pattern, and I did view C for the top, except I raised the neckline a bit, and I didn't do an elastic casing. I did bias binding and gathered it and sewed it down so it's not stretchy. And let's see, I made the length it showed on here, I think. So I did that because I wanted something to wear with the overalls I was going to make the next week, and 3 months later I made the overalls using this pattern that I adapted, or I just made some changes to it. I did not want to have to button the straps on the back because that's convenient.
That's so weird.
I mean, yeah, cute. It crisscrossed and buttoned in the back. Cute, but impractical.
Yes.
So I switched it to be on the front, and I had this cute little hardware that I added to it. And let's see, what else did I do? It has pockets on the front right here, and everybody loves to have excess bulk right here. So I didn't add that. I moved it to the back because I could use a little excess bulk there. And I didn't do the little pocket right here. So I love the fit. I mean, I of course had to alter it, because I need to do one size here, one size for my waist, one size for my hips. So I have to make alterations, but it lined up just right, and it fits great. But I'm gonna tell you, this is the cutest part of the whole thing and the biggest pain ever.
Oh.
Trying to button this up every time you have to use the restroom is just not fun. So sometimes I need help. So I love this pattern. I will make it again, and I actually want to change it and use just the top part and the waistband, and then add a skirt to it to make like a little pinafore. But I will sew buttons on, but it'll be fake. It'll have a zipper because there's no way I'm buttoning up more things like this. So very cute. Loved it.
Very fun. They're so cute on you too.
Thank you.
Super cute.
I like sewing when I have the time and when I have a clean space. Oh, and I redid my sewing room, and it's lovely now, and I have been trying for the last month and a half to make the video of it, which I haven't done and may or may not get done.
And you're going to post that over on my Fairytale Chronicles, right?
Yeah, if I get it done.
Okay, so definitely go follow my Fairytale Chronicles, subscribe over there, and then you'll be able to see that if she gets it done.
I will. It's just, you know,
will.
there's like 4,000 things to do all the time. So
Yes.
anyways, now that my sewing room is done, I just want to be out there, but I don't have all the time to do it.
Yeah. Okay,
What
so
do you have done?
all right. Well, I finished something magnificent.
It is magnificent.
I started it and finished it. This is I'm sick and I'm going to make something nice for myself. This sweater, and it's too big.
No, I didn't know that.
I mean, I can still wear it, but it is too big and I'm really sad. So it's very big in the shoulders. I'll try.
Okay.
We'll have to see if we can take some pictures.
Yeah.
To insert here. Okay. This is, hold on. Come on, brain. What is this called? Nor'easter, but I'm trying to remember who it's by really quick.
Oh, and I won't remember because
Give me 1 second. I will tell you. It is by Baby Cocktails. Nor'easter. And let's see if I can show you a picture of it. If that will, nah. It's always about adjusting the, no, you know what? That was just my phone's
okay,
control.
we're not.
Doesn't matter. Nor'easter.
They'll see it right here.
Look at the back of this cardigan, you guys.
This color is
amazing. This is Malabrigo Rios in the Sunset colorway. And that just, oh, it's just so pretty. I have to show it closer though. I love this braid right here next. Oh, isn't that just beautiful? Oh, it's so pretty. This is a shawl collar. It's so floppy and squishy and amazing, but it has a shawl collar and it's very simple in the front. And I added pockets to the front, just a patch pocket that I just knit and then mattress stitched on. And so anyway, ribs, and I have to fold up the cuffs because again, it's too big. So this is knit bottom up. And I will say it's beautiful, but I really wouldn't recommend the pattern. It was really unclear in a lot of places. And I think she has a lighter weight version of this cardigan, and it may be a better version. And so, but this one, it was just really hard for me to follow. And I'm really good at following patterns. So I feel like it would be quite challenging. I don't love that it was knit bottom up. I thought, oh, I'll try it and, you know, it'll be fun. You knit the sleeves first, which I'll be honest was great. I knit one sleeve one day, I knit the next sleeve the next day because I didn't have anything to do but sit and knit. And then it was nice because there's no sleeve island. You're already done.
Not just that, but if you do bottom up and you knit the sleeves separately, you're not dragging the whole sweater around and around and around.
When you're knitting, yep, yeah. But by the time you get everything together, there's a lot of weight on those needles to do all your decreases. So I feel like it was, so this, and it has a saddle shoulder. And this is where my biggest problem is. This shoulder from here to here is like here to here, you know, and then my shoulder ends up dropped, but it has this little kind of a shoulder cap right here. So the shoulder cap hits me right here. And then I have this little like,
oh yeah,
poof. And so that's the only thing that I'm not super happy about. I think it's just hard with a bottom up sweater. You can't try it on to see where it is. So it is a little harder. But I really did, even though I had some frustrations with it, I did enjoy knitting this. This was very indulgent for me because I have knit, in fact, I think I can grab it. I have knit a cardigan, a baby cardigan before out of this same yarn. And I haven't put buttons on it, but this is just an N3's baby cardigan. I knit this years ago and I put it away in my grandma box, which is right there. And I loved the yarn so much when I was making this. And I always said, oh, someday I'm going to make myself a sweater out of this. So when I was really sick and I really needed something wonderful and a pick me up, I finally decided to do it.
I need a sweater quantity of Malabrigo Rios in pretty much any colorway.
It is
it's all gorgeous.
The most luscious worsted weight yarn there is. It just is.
It is.
It grows though. I mean, it is superwash and it grows and it's heavy. So keep that in mind when working with it. But I just love it.
But so lovely for
winter.
It
is so squishy. So I am still going to wear it. I'm still wearing it. It's great. But I wish you know, and I could rip the collar out. I could take the front button bands off. I could pull back. Well, actually, the button band is
you have to go all the way back down to where
I'd have to go all the way back down to where it joined. Well, probably to where it joined, and then completely reknit this top. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'll just knit another sweater. So that's what I do. So this is still good. And you know what? It's nice because I can throw it on even over me wearing a lighter weight sweater. Because, you know, a lot of times you wear a lighter weight sweater through the day. And I don't really wear coats. So this is like it can be a coat that can go over everything. And it's nice and long. It's got those great pockets. So there's a lot of really good things. And it just feels luscious. So anyway.
It is really pretty.
I knit this in less than a month. I think it was about 3 weeks. But that's about all I did.
We were having challenges with the cables.
The cables weren't the challenge. It was the construction of the whole thing that was, I felt like, unclear. It was the kind of thing where it would say something like, I can't even describe what it was. It would tell you to, like, the numbers were off for the stitch counts for the decreases. It didn't give you stitch counts in some places. And then you'd find out later that it was like, now use these next 7 stitches. And you're like, that's not correct. But I'm a really accurate knitter. So I had done exactly, you know, I could go back and count my increases and my decreases and they were all correct. And then it was the kind of thing where it would tell you, while doing this and this and this and this, also do this. And they're all at a different place, but with no, but not told in a logical order, so that you were, like, you would read the whole thing and it would say to do all of this. And so you start doing it. And then you go on to the next section and it says, also, while doing the previous section, do this. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, it just wasn't it wasn't my favorite as far as pattern writing. But it is a beautiful sweater.
It is.
So, okay, there we go. That's enough of that.
I have another project, a big one. Okay, so I gotta move again. I should take a picture, but I made a quilt this summer. I bought this fabric in the winter time, I think, and the pattern and the template with the plan that I was going to make this quilt when I redid my sewing room. So I redid it and the next day started the quilt. So this is called Heart Candy by Krista Moser. And it is designed for a, I think, baby quilt or wall quilt. No, baby quilt or pillow cushion. And I wanted a bigger one. So I made a throw size. It's almost twin.
Oh, it's so cute.
But what I did is I added this charcoal gray and cream border on the top and bottom. And then I added a wide border so I could do a scalloped edge, because I really, really wanted a scalloped edge. So I bought the pattern and the template online, and I've seen this acrylic ruler template at our local quilt shop, Pine Needles, and I think it's carried at Fat Quarter Shop, a couple of places, because there's a lot of different things. She has a YouTube channel, and she's on a lot of other YouTube channels where she shows different things you can do with that acrylic ruler template thing. But I loved this one. So the back I made really fun and bright. I wanted it to be kind of unexpected. And this is going to be a gift for a friend. So it's, I'm trying to think how wide. It's my wingspan, and it's as tall as I am, or a little taller than I am. But when you have like the scallops, it kind of takes away some of that usable space, you could say, so it feels a little smaller.
No, it's perfect, because then you can snuggle it like this.
Like this. So, yeah.
So cute.
I machine quilted it. I was going to send it off to be machine quilted, and then I thought, no, I'll hand quilt it, and then I went, nope, I'm just gonna machine quilt it. And I just did diagonal lines, and then I did straight lines down each row,
Each column.
each column here. So that's how I quilted it. And it took me an afternoon to machine quilt it. But this is the biggest I ever want to machine quilt myself on my home sewing machine. So
And you use like a walking foot
yep,
and
I have a
everything when
walking
you
foot.
machine
I
quilt.
haven't washed this. You know that it really comes alive when you wash it.
And you get that little crinkly.
Yeah, but I haven't washed it yet.
I love that.
So
It's so
that was
pretty.
my summer sewing project, and I did that one pretty quickly. The thing that took the most time was sewing the binding on, because I sewed it on by machine on one side, flipped it, and stitched it down by hand on the other side, because I love how clean it looks. But that takes forever. So
It does take a long time. There's something very, it's so satisfying.
it's
because of how
also
tidy it is.
enjoyable to do. I like the process of it. Is just that, I'd sit down and do this much, that much length, and then get up and do something else. And then when I had a minute, I'd come down and do that much more. Well, that's gonna take me forever, and it did. So
Lovely. All right. So I have made, lo and behold, another pair of socks. And I had to go back and watch our last episode to see which ones of these I've included. So this is just a waffle texture sock. I think you had just knit a pair of these, and I called and said, Deborah, what was it you did on those?
yep, I'll show
Yep.
them in a minute.
And so I knit these, and this was out of my Oh, the Places You'll Go colorway. Isn't that fun? So it's Dr. Seuss. Oh, I love that book. I remember reading that book when I was pregnant with one of my, I don't remember which child it was, but one of my children, and just thinking about them as little babies. So anyway, there's that one. 64 stitches. I always use 2.25 millimeter needles. And the way I do it is I almost always do 20 rounds for my cuff, 60 rounds for the leg. And then I know that if I do 65 rounds from the time I finish my gusset decreases and then put my toes in, that they'll be the perfect size for me or any of my girls, either of my girls. And
You
then
all
if
have
I'm
the same size or close to?
yes, including my 13-year-old, who is only like 5'2". She has the same size feet as Aria has slightly larger feet than I do. Well, she definitely has larger feet than I do, but all within the same, general range of socks. Same thing with Abby. She's just a tiny bit, like shorter feet, but her feet are wider than mine. So they just have big feet. So we all wear the same size.
Very pretty.
And these are part of my rainbow socks, which I'll show you the rest of them in just a minute.
Okay. Well, along with that, I finished the socks that had that same texture, and I knit these for Jason. And so I like to do a 23 round cuff, and especially for Jason. I like that for me too. At least I like 20. And then I did knit, I knit 2 rounds plain, and then I knit 2 purl 2 for 2 rounds, and then knit 2 rounds plain, knit 2 purl 2. So that's how we got this texture that's nice and squishy. And I'm just trying to think.
You do yours
What
by
I did.
inches, don't you?
I do mine by inches. Like I do it by measuring the palm of my hand. Okay, so fun fact, for homeschoolers, the spot from your elbow to your wrist typically is your foot measurement. And your hand, I'm trying to remember, the palm, what was the thing? Oh, we figured all of these things out. And that's one reason why I figured out that my palm, it worked out just right, because it actually adds a little bit extra when I do the decreases. And so I measure on my sock from the heel to here before I start doing my toe, not for my husband, but I've told you before, what I really really love. It's very satisfying to me for some strange reason. So even if I wanted a shorter or longer sock, I wouldn't do it because I like when they measure up when they're folded in half like this.
And they're perfectly in half.
And they're the same. Oh, it's just so nice. So I always knit mine the length of my foot for that reason. Also, I like it to be that long on my legs. So, and Jason, he would like his a little bit longer, but I am done knitting before. I'm just like, that's the most that I can handle.
That's why my poor Isaac doesn't have hand knit socks anymore. His feet are just too big.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So
that's so satisfying, isn't it?
And it's not blue and it's not gray.
I know.
It's green. So
the color.
And it was really pretty. I really liked knitting that one. And it's not just stockinette. I did a different texture pattern and Jason was like, yeah, I like that one. So
it's funny, I just realized Richard wears the same size socks as me too. We all wear the same size. It's just my two boys who don't.
Oh. We all do, except for those other two that I don't really care about.
Isaac knows. So Isaac has 12 extra wide feet. And that's not counting his, like he has tree trunks for legs. So I'm just trying to think what it would look like for me to knit him socks.
Well, you knit him a pair before.
I knit him a pair like 6 years ago.
No, it was like 2 years ago, Emily. Because you were knitting it for, what were you knitting it for? And it ended up not working. And you're like, it's way too big. But then it worked for Isaac.
Maybe that was the case. I don't remember those, but anyway.
All right.
See, what else? So now I have another pair of socks. And these socks are ones, this is knit in yarn that I got when we were on our trip in May. This is Bad Sheep yarn. This is what it looks like in the ball. And it's the lupine colorway. And it was hand dyed in the North Pole, Alaska. I was not in Alaska, but I did get this at a yarn store on our trip. And so I knit these. And this is just something I made up. So it has this little lace panel that gives you kind of a wavy stitch at the top and a straight one at the bottom for some interest. Other than that, everything is exactly the same as my normal socks. And this finishes out for me what I've decided to do for the Rainbow Sock Chronicles.
Okay, let's see.
So here's my stack. Hold on, I have to fold these a specific way. They have to go this direction. They'll be stacked right here. So this is my stack of rainbow socks. And I've ended up with, I think, 9 pair. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep, 9 pair.
Okay, let's see. Each color.
So we've got the pinks, which I just did in Scrappy. And then I've got the reds, which this is Deborah's Cherry Fizz colorway.
Sour Cherry Fizz.
Sour Cherry Fizz. Then I did the peaches and oranges. Again, just scraps, although there's quite a bit of your grapefruit in there.
Oh, yeah, this one.
Or orange creamsicle.
Yeah, this one's.
Orange creamsicle. And then I've got these, which I love. Those are monkey socks, and they are knit in
Gold Rush.
Gold Rush hedgehog fibers. And this is probably my favorite colorway of the year. I love that so much. Then I've got another pair of monkey socks, and this is also Deborah's yarn, Candy Shoppe Yarns in
Lemon Chiffon Pie.
See, I'm so glad you remember. And then I've got a pair of ribbed socks, and this was also that same Bad Sheep Yarn company, but I don't remember the colorway, unfortunately. I got this at the same time that I got that purple. So there's that one. And then I have this pair of turquoisey ones. This is my Austin colorway. And there's a little bit of, I think this is Ruby, what's her name? Ruby
and Roses.
And Roses. This is one of her yarns. It's just a little scrap to give some interest, which I'm definitely going to do this again. This was a great way to just put a little tiny scrap that you really love into something. I think there had to have been less than 3 grams that I had left of that. Anyway, so there's those. And then the blue ones that I showed you, the places you'll go. And that's just a textured one. And then this one that I just showed you with a little bit of lace. And so, am I folding these the right direction?
Wait, I don't know. I'm looking to see.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. So
I may have put it backwards.
it doesn't matter as long as it's all in the same. So isn't that fun? So I decided not to keep going. I feel like I've got a good rainbow here.
You gotta see this. There.
Right there.
There you go.
I've got a great rainbow here. I am really happy with it, and I'm really ready to get moving on into like gift knits and things like that for Christmas. But I love this, and I haven't worn any of these. They're all fresh and pristine. So some of these will end up being gifts. Some will go into my drawer. Some I'll set aside and save for whenever. I don't know, but I love them. This pair right here though, that gold, those are definitely mine. I'm keeping those for sure. Isn't that fun? I love it. So now I've got to get some good pictures.
Fizzled out after the third one, second one. Well, it's because I just got excited about other things. You know?
Yeah.
I'm like
it's so cute. I'm so happy with it.
Yeah,
love it so
fun.
much. So fun.
I finished socks, surprise. I showed these on the last episode. These are from Minis Dyed for Me by our friend Mandy, and she did an advent calendar for me last year, and they were all Disney themed yarns, and these are all except for this purple Up themed colorways.
So
from Disney's Up. And so I ended up putting this one in because I just felt like it went with it, even though it's not Up themed, it's Tangled, or yeah. So I finished these, and these are going to go in the gift knits because you know how I said I wasn't going to make anything for anybody.
Yeah, famous last words.
Yeah. But I love, I mean,
So
you
fun.
could say scrappy socks. I mean, they weren't scraps, but same idea. I love making them. That's probably one of my favorite.
They look so
things to make.
squishy and cozy.
It's just so fun. I have to look at it in the camera because I haven't done that, and I really love how they look in the camera. It's just fun.
That is fun.
I typically do like more single colors or more bold and bright, or you know, I don't know. So this isn't my usual combination, and I love it.
So
love
pretty.
it.
Very, very pretty. Okay. Let's see. I have started doing some embroidery. I bought an embroidery kit. A set of 4 embroidery kits. Let's see if I can find that card. Yes, there it is. To show, this is the set that I bought. I just got this on Amazon. And it comes with the 4 hoops, the printed cloth, the floss for all of them, needles, and even a little pair of snips. So it's kind of got everything you need to work these. And this is the first one that I did. And I say these are finished. They're not obviously like completely
Fully finished.
but the embroidery is finished. And I'm really proud of that. I used to do more embroidery than I mean, years and years ago. But I kind of just fudged it, you know, and I did very simple things. But I'm, you know, learning some techniques here and improving some techniques. I still have a lot of improvement to do, but I learned how to do these little, I think it's the wagon wheel stitch, how to do these little rosettes. Those are pretty fun. And anyway, that's really fun. So, and I'm going to show the other one too that I did. So I also did this one.
I think that one's my favorite.
This
in the
one
set.
here?
Yeah.
Really? This one, I have mixed feelings about it. I haven't washed these yet, by the way. I have, or not, you know, dampened them, so you can still kind of see the tint of the lines there from the printing. This one I had mixed feelings about because it tells you to be doing satin stitch, and yet the pictures of it are very much a rough looking satin stitch. It's not a super smooth, polished, blended.
There's a different name for
perfect. And that's what I thought. I don't think this is actually satin stitch.
can't remember the
but
name of it.
It looks like the picture, so that's what I was going for. I think this one's going to be my favorite one, the blue one, when I get to that one. I'm saving that one for last because I think it's going to be the most complicated, and also it's going to be my favorite. So I have this one on the hoop, but I haven't started it yet. This one, the yellow daisies, or whatever they are, it uses a blend. You blend different colors together to do different leaves. Like you put, so many strands of one color and so many strands of another. So that will be really fun. Anyway, I've just been really enjoying that. It's nice because when I was knitting that sweater, eventually my wrists would get kind of tired and just holding up the weight of it and finish working on it. And so this was my kind of palette cleanser and rest project. And they go really quickly.
And you were saying you appreciated that one because it had absolutely everything in it that you needed. So you didn't have to...
I didn't have to think. I just
didn't have to think, and you
follow
didn't have to go
instructions.
dig through to find things you needed because you couldn't do that at the time. You just needed...
Yes. Yeah. It was definitely the kind of thing where it came, I ordered it, it showed up, I got it out of the package and started working on it. I didn't have to go sort through
Find
things
scissors or needles
and trace
or...
patterns and, things. I was not able to do that at the time. So it was really nice for me.
All right, one more pair of socks. This yarn was a gift from my friend Kimberly, and it is a scrumptious pearl self-striping yarn called Poisoned Apple. And Kimberly gave this to me to knit in Disneyland. So I knit socks in Disneyland. We went to Disneyland a month ago. It's been a month. Yeah. And it was so much fun. It was so nice. Except for it was really humid. And I am not used to humidity. And when we go, it's not usually too humid. Except for one time it was crazy humid. Anyways, so that was, the hardest part. But, so hard being at Disneyland. I mean, we suffered through. So it was the best trip. So I actually usually take knitting and knit while we're waiting in line for rides, but we didn't have to wait in line except for maybe 2 rides. So all of this knitting was done in the car ride there, on the car ride home, in the hotel room at night when we were going to bed. And we had one day in between, like we went to the parks for 2 days, and then one day we were just at the hotel in downtown Disney and had kind of like a rest day, which was equally as enjoyable. I loved it. And then we went back to the parks for one more day. So I knit most of this during those times because we didn't have to wait in line. It was great. So I used a black yarn of some sort from somewhere that I had in stash, but it was one that's like a commercial yarn that I got somewhere. And I've got this much left. And I saw...
Ooh, with that much black, you've got a room for shorties or something.
I could do shorties, but I saw... my brain just went blank. Just a minute. I can't remember. My brain just went blank. But somebody, a podcaster that I like to follow, she did a pair of socks where she used self-striping yarn and just did a section. So you know how when you do scrappy yarn, you have to weave in all the ends. And these are wider, but she just did a little bit of the self-striping and then did all the rest. So instead of having to weave in all the ends. So I could do that. I don't know. So we'll see. I like to knit on magic loop. And especially at Disneyland, because that one I don't have to look at. I don't have to worry about dropping, a DPN or anything. So I have done 9-inch circulars, but my favorite is magic loop. So this one's Poisoned Apple, so Snow White reference. And we went on the new Snow White ride. I loved it. It's really the end that is just so lovely. I like all of it, but the very
I'm
end
excited for that one.
is lovely.
And you brought me home a poison apple cookie.
I did.
From Disneyland.
It wasn't
that was
poisoned.
So nice. No, it wasn't. It wasn't poisoned. That was good. or else I'd be sitting here dead. Okay.
You wouldn't be sitting here.
That was a
Well,
joke,
actually,
Deborah.
Emily. Well, actually.
We have this joke in our family that if you want to ever be corrected, we are willing to do that.
And it always starts with,
well, actually. And so I'm like, did you just well, actually me?
I feel like that's the homeschooler's mantra.
Yes. Did you?
Well, actually.
Gosh. So true.
My kids do that all the time.
So I have debated on whether this is a finished object or not. And I finally decided that it is. And I'm leaving it as it is. And so this is my finished rainbow blanket. I just decided not to add borders, not to add anything. So I'm going to show it to you in color order again. And you've seen this before through the whole year, but here's where it ended. So it goes with this pinks and then reds and then oranges into yellows, then into the greens and then the turquoise and blues and then kind of lilacs and then violets. That looked almost black with the contrast. It really isn't. It's again, super high contrast on the camera compared to in real life. And that's where I've decided to end. I'm just leaving it like that. It's a good lap blanket, but I'm thinking this is going to be, again, looking ahead, the perfect grandchild cozy blanket when they come to my house. Yes, I'm obsessed. I know. Oh, it's so squishy. This is all made out of Lay Family Yarns. I used the 20-gram minis. And if you look back to our last episode and probably other episodes from this year, Deborah has inserted kind of Emily's crochet blankets like
I did the last
screenshot. So if you want to know what I did, you can find that. But it's basically 239 chains and a 3.5 millimeter hook. And that's how I made my blanket. And it's 4 rows, just down and back for each one of the stripes, which does take just barely under 20 grams at that size. So I really...
Your gauge.
For my gauge, yeah.
And
Now, I have to say that I generally tend to go towards the more springy or candy colors. But I find that these extra bold ones, like this one, and specifically this green, which is definitely a candy color, and this turquoise, but this blue and this violet, I just love those. I think it just really does something added in to the mix.
I've had this conversation before with somebody where that is what brings it to life. Because if you didn't have this and everything's just muted, it's all... it's softer,
it's still pretty
and pretty, but it's a little bit more bland. And then you do this, and it brings it to life. So adding bold pops here and there.
It's like looking at your quilt where you have your charcoal and white borders at the top and the bottom. I would never have thought to put that in there because I would look at that and think, well, it needs to be all in the same family. But the fact that you did that really gives it some definition. It makes everything else shine out really well.
Who's really good at doing that?
Who's that?
Amy of Taylor Studios. She's really good at pulling those kinds of pops, putting those in really well, especially in quilts. Oh my word, she was showing some of her quilts that she was working on, and her color combinations were so unexpected and stunningly beautiful.
I remember that.
There's a coral one with black, I think, and I never would have done that.
Right.
It's so pretty.
I love that. That's one of the things I love to see what other people are making, just because you can just get so much inspiration from them to try something different. And I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate Kelly's aesthetic in her yarn.
Yeah.
She's so consistent as a dyer. And anyway, the thing about a crocheted blanket like this, it's so tidy. Isn't it just it's
very satisfying
to look at. Yes, and it's got these very clean edges, and that's why I just finally thought, I don't want to hide this beautiful edge, and I don't want to mute down how perfect the middle is. So it's a little smaller than what I would normally make, but I don't care. It's going to be great. So it's done.
Are you going to put this in the grandma
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
going in the grandma box. Well, it may not fit in there, but theoretically.
You need to start a second one.
I really do. I have some quilts and things too put away in my closet.
So you need a third one.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I just need a bigger grandma box. My kids have a lot of pressure on them, don't they? I've made lots of things for grandkids.
I told my children I expect 20 children from each of them.
Oh, from each of them?
Yes, so that when they decide on, like 6, and they'll feel like, we're disappointing mom, I'll be like, okay. But then I could have
I just told my kids
more.
I expected 20 grandchildren. See, you're way more extreme with it.
You just have to aim really high so that where they settle is really where you're hoping to be.
And of course, in the end, we're just joking because we want them to make all the right decisions for their families.
They have to decide for themselves.
But, as long as it fits in with what I want.
I'll just heavily pressure.
We don't do that.
No,
But
actually, I don't.
On. No.
I have joked with them, though, about 20 kids.
But they know it's a joke, and that's what makes it fun.
I also did that when they were 14. And they're like, kids, mom, no.
Yeah. And in the end, it's interesting because we don't know. We don't know what will happen. So I'm like, now that my kids are, I've got my oldest son is married, and then my daughter is seriously dating somebody, and, things like that. I just start to go, okay, now I stop joking. Now is when I stop that. And I just am like,
I actually,
whatever works for you is fine with me.
Yeah.
But, when they're younger, I'm still teasing Abby and Isaac like crazy. So it's good.
No, I've stopped teasing my kids about that.
Yeah.
I've picked up on more things to tease them with in other areas. So, but I could pick that up again. So
Yeah.
All right. I have a hat. I had a gift from a really kind friend that I actually went to meet her at her house when we were coming home from a vacation one time. And she gave me a skein of yarn from Storyteller. And the name of the colorway is Shoreline. And it's this really pretty colorway. I paired it with some bear mohair. So I had different projects that I had made where I got a new skein of mohair, and then I had 3 bits, and I just wound them all together into one cake. And I finished one of the bits and some of another. And I knit my ice cream swirl hat, the largest size. And you can see on the bottom here how it was swirling really well. But then right about here, it started to go off script. And then by the time we got to the body of the hat, it was like completely lost the plot.
Nice and stripy now.
So it's because I used a fingering weight yarn and I held it double. I pulled from the inside and the outside and I lined them up. And I held it with mohair. And when you do that, especially if you hold it with a 3rd strand of mohair, I found that they don't always stay lining up perfectly together. They'll shift. One will be a little longer than the other as you're knitting on each stitch. So it's fine though, because I think it's a pretty hat.
It's a very pretty hat.
And it still swirled, just not in the same way. It blended a little bit more.
I kind of like, though, that it swirled at the brim and then it just stopped, like, when you got to the body of the hat.
I like it.
It looks really nice.
I think it's really pretty, and it's really soft, and it's really squishy. And this one is a gift knit. So I'm not saying who anything is for. I'm showing it, and nobody will know until they get it. And then they're like, that was for me. So happy. So
I'm so sorry. I
just
keep
want
yawning.
it to be, we better move along.
Because I keep yawning?
Well,
that means you probably are too.
No, I want to make sure that we don't end with you on the floor asleep. So.
Oh, that's true. With me just switching off, powering down.
So that was my last finished object. Do you have any more?
Nope, that's it for me.
Okay. Well, then let's move on to works in progress. Let's see something that you're working on.
Okay, everything I'm working on is
buried.
big. No, it's just big. Yeah, let's pause for a second and reset here.
Okay.
All right, first one up. I have this cardigan called Menuet. This picture on the front does not tell you at all what it looks like.
I wouldn't even know it was a cardigan.
You can't even tell. But it is Menuet. It's by Ririco. Ririco. I'm trying to see if there's a better picture. Here we go. I think that's a good picture. I recently knit, at the beginning of the year, I knit one of her cardigans called Grace. And this has a very similar shape, a similar construction, but very different details. Has that lovely kind of wavy front. And I want to say I enjoyed it. It took a long time to make it, but I really did enjoy it. And more than anything, I wear that cardigan a lot. And so I am making another one. And because you know me, I like things that are subtle and, neutral. I'm knitting it in this yarn. Oh my goodness, I love it. This is what the back looks like. It's so busy. I know it's so busy, but I really love it. This is knit in Yarn Cafe Creations, and the colorway is Pinkamena Diane, which is Pinkie Pie, My Little Pony, Pinkie Pie. That's what her actual name is, Pinkamena Diane, apparently. So I had to ask my daughter, what does Pinkamena Diane refer to? And she goes, is that what that's called? That's so cool. Because she loves My Little Pony. Isn't this gorgeous?
It is.
It's such...
Christy is so good.
I eyed this yarn for a long time. And I just finally said, I have to knit a whole sweater out of that. So that is what I'm doing. It is knit top down. It includes the wide button band, not button band, but band. It's got this wavy...
That's the inside, isn't it?
No, it isn't. It's reverse stockinette in the body. So and it's got these cables at all of your... At your raglan increases, and then they come down the sides and kind of A-line branch out. And then it has, on the back, it has these cables and little baubles. And it is really not showing up very well on the camera, but it is better in person. I mean, it is, you can see it a lot more in person. But it is very busy. And I knew that when I bought this yarn and I was going to make a sweater, I thought, really, if my whole goal is to show off the yarn, I should knit a very simple pattern, because it would, a lot of pattern is going to get lost in this much speckliness, which is just so pretty. But I didn't want to knit that. I wanted to knit something that was more interesting to me, something that was complicated, because I really enjoy that. I enjoy having this cable pattern here, and then this cable pattern here, and then this cable pattern here, and having to keep track of it all. It just makes it more interesting for me. And so this is the inside and the outside. But I do like the reverse stockinette. I think there's something really fun about how colors show up in reverse stockinette compared to, it's a little sharper on the stockinette side, but on the backs, or what you would normally call the back side, it gets broken up by the purl bumps, and so it kind of blends and it looks almost watercolory.
Yeah,
I really like that. So I am really enjoying this. I have I'm now in the body increases, and I'm about a third of the way through. This will be a long line cardigan. So when you knit a fingering weight long cardigan for my size, it's a lot of knitting, and that's awesome.
So that means that you can enjoy
it for a long time, and I love it. And I literally have started wearing my Grace cardigan, and now that it's gotten colder, I put it on almost every day. It is just the perfect cardigan because it is a longer one. It's got like mid-thigh length, and it's got pockets in it, which I will add to this one for sure. But it's not so heavy, so I can wear it inside. It's just kind of the perfect cardigan. So I'm really excited for this one. Really excited. Ooh, yeah.
I made myself a bag using towels, tea towels. My friend Margaret did that last Christmas and made myself and a few of us a bag like that, and I loved it so much. So I found this towel and I loved it. And then I have this pretty fabric that I've been holding on to for a long time because I just love that. So I made myself a sweater size bag, and in it I have a sweater. Yay! Remember how I said I don't knit sweaters? I don't really like to knit sweaters, and I finished one last time and I'm like, oh, now I should start. And then I told you when I was going to start. Well, I did. So I started it. And it is called the Stash Dive Raglan by Summer Lee. And it has a cowl neck. And this one is a loose cowl, but she has an option for a fitted one or a crew neck. And the whole idea is that you use your scraps. So, I have scraps. I've actually been working really hard on using scraps in a lot of things, but just like if you are a quilter, you will know that by using scraps, you create more. So they multiply. They never end. No. They never end. So just like with yarn, it starts out, you know, big with a usable thing. Like I could make a hat with that. And then what you're left with, well, I could put that in some socks or in something. And then you do that. And now you have a little bit. You're like, now what do I do with that? You put it in this sweater. So it uses worsted weight yarn that you'll just carry throughout, and then you hold it double with a fingering weight yarn. So I've got some bare worsted weight yarn, and then you divide your scraps into like speckles, speckles, variegated, and then into solids that are really bright or really dark kind of thing. But I've got some speckles in here as well, as they're getting smaller too. So these are the smaller ones, these are the bigger ones, and these are the brighter and more solid, or whatever. But so it is knit bottom up, and
that's so fun.
I am not a fan of bottom up because you can't try it on.
I think you have some stitches coming off the
Yeah, okay. It happens every time.
Okay.
There's a lot on here. Yeah. I always have to go pick them up again. So I don't love doing bottom up because you can't try it on. So I'm going off of all the measurements to make sure that it's where I want it to be. But I am happy that I can do the sleeves separately and not attached to this. So I can knit those separately and then join them together and finish the top. And the whole idea is to try to blend it together so it doesn't look like just big stripes. But as I'm looking here, this looks like more of a big stripe. But that's really okay. I'm seeing a couple spots that look like that.
I like it though. It's so fun.
So the process is that you have like kind of like a main yarn that you're holding together with this, and then you add in little pops here and there of like 8, 30, 20 stitches here and there. So you can see, like, I just have this section of orange in that row, and you can see that happens throughout where you just have them mixed in. But let me put my stitches back on, and I'm going to show you the inside of this, because there are, by the time I'm done, are going to be hundreds and hundreds of ends. But it's okay, because I do it as I go. So here we go. It's inside out. Just a minute. Oh, you can't see all the billions of ends on the camera.
It's harder to see it, yeah.
I have a ton. Because you just knit. Like here, you can see I just did like that much. And it's just kind of fun. So if you have just the smallest amount, see, you lost another stitch, but it's not hard to pick back up. So you can use the tiniest amounts.
So fun.
And I really like it. I really like it. And it's really squishy, and it's going to be quite a heavy sweater because it's essentially like an Aran weight. Or
like even a bulky
actually.
Yeah.
So it's really nice.
Oh, it's so cute.
So I'm almost to where I need to add in sleeves. So I haven't knit the sleeves. So
I really think I'm gonna have to do the same thing. But I might want it in a cardigan. So I don't really wear pullovers.
But you can do the same idea.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna.
You can do the same idea if there's a cardigan pattern that you like that has the weight of yarn that you need, and you can do a fingering weight with a fingering weight if you have a DK pattern, or you can do a DK with a fingering, or like just mix it up. And you don't have to do a bare yarn, but I did like how hers looked, and I had bare yarn. I've seen one where they did it with black, I think, and one where they did it with red.
I bet like a light gray would be really cute.
That was, I was
light
thinking
tan with
that I
all the
might
colors.
dye a gray, and then I was like, no, I'm just going to stick with the bear. So
I really love it.
there it is. But this is not a portable knit. And this is not one where you just knit mindlessly. Like, I have to be paying attention. You're constantly managing color and thinking about it. So even though it's all stockinette, it's not a mindless knit, but it's really enjoyable because what you're just focusing on is color.
That's so fun.
Which is my favorite part, is color. So
I cannot wait to see that on you. It is going to be so cute.
I'm going to do
cozy.
the cowl. I think I mentioned that. I'm going to do the looser cowl neck because I really like cowl necks. And I especially like, or not cowl, it was a turtleneck. I like cowl necks a lot that drape down. And I also like turtlenecks if they're not too, if they're not fitted. If they're too tight, no, I don't like that. But yeah.
It's just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. This is at a pause point. I have shown this before, but I've gone way farther than when I had to go back again and look. Now, how much have I shown of this? This is a shawl that I am making for my daughter. It is called the Twinity, like Trinity, but with a W. Twinity shawl. Hold on, that's a million charts. I gotta find the main page. I shall never find it. It will never happen. Like literally, I don't know where it is. Okay, that's what it's called, Twinity. Ah, here we go. Lace shawl with beads. I am not adding the beads. Who is this by?
It's very pretty.
It doesn't even have a name on it.
Here, I'm going to hold this up while you find that.
Is there any information about the name? Nope.
By an unknown designer, which is unfortunate because she should be known. I think it was printed down here.
Oh, it cut off.
But it was cut off on the bottom. So.
Okay, I'm sorry, but it is on Ravelry.
And I doubt there's many things that are called Twinity.
Nope.
Lace shawl with
Lace
beads.
weight shawl. Okay. I am knitting this out of Juniper Moon Farm in the Findlay base, which is a 50-50 merino wool silk, and it's 798 yards to 100 grams. So it would be like not a cobweb, but just a lace weight. So that's kind of what the weight is. And this is just a I don't think it has a colorway name. No, it's just
Snow 23.
where are you? Oh, right there, Snow. There you go.
I am so smart.
SMRT. Now this is hard to show because it's really bunched up on the needles, but this is where I am in the pattern, which if you look, oh, golly, I wish I could show it better. I can
see where it is. So
it's into the blue.
Yeah, you finished that tip.
All these leaves are done. And then I finished the biggest kind of border outside that leaf. So this is probably the easiest way for me to show it.
Yeah.
Is that kind of motif there. So I'm actually coming to the point where I'm going to need my contrast color. And that's why it's at a pause, because I haven't dyed it yet. The way I'm doing this.
You were keeping, no.
It's going to be all of this except for just at the very, very edge, probably 6 rows. There will be a very pale blushy pink. And that is per her request. If you look at this pattern on Ravelry, you will see that one of the samples is knit with that combination. And that was our inspiration.
Okay.
So anyway, it is so, this has a lovely feel to the fabric. Just feel the fabric of this. It's going to drape amazingly well. Nice. Once I block this, it's going to open up huge. Right now it looks all, small and crumply, but the magic of blocking, especially with lace and especially with, and especially with lace weight. Yes. This is just it's going to be a stunner. Really it's going to be gorgeous. Oh my goodness. I kind of forgot how much I love this. Okay. Now I'm feeling, I haven't worked on it for quite a while because I was not well and I couldn't, it was a little bit too, this is extremely complicated lace work. And it was a little too much for me, and especially because I need to dye the yarn to finish it off. Oh, but it's so pretty. So isn't that going to be just stunning? Anyway, this is for my daughter Aria, my oldest daughter. And it might be a shawl for a special occasion, but you know, we shouldn't say more about that at this time. So that's where that is.
No pressure, no pressure.
All right.
All right. I am making a baby cardigan. Oh. So this one is called Hooded Jacket. It is a very catchy title, very catchy name. And I can't even tell you also.
Oh, isn't that frustrating?
Why does it not say? I got it on Lovecrafts. And I've since seen a few patterns that I downloaded from there, and it's the same thing. So it was a free one, and it's all in one page, you know, the whole thing. So there's not a lot of instructions. It assumes that you know a lot of things. It assumes that you know what a lot of things even stand for, like the abbreviations mean, and I had to figure out a couple of them. But it's a really cute cardigan that has a hood, and so I knit the back, and it has garter like section for the shoulders, and it's just, I'm doing it's supposed to be the 3-month size. This is bigger than 3 months, I'm just gonna say. Yeah, it's bigger than 3 months. So I did that, and then I did one side, and then I started the next side, and I was knitting away, and then I went, wait a minute, there's no buttonholes, but it has buttons. And then I looked, and it says just widen some holes. Like, no. So then I ripped back, and I'm adding in a single stitch buttonhole, just
like a yarn over buttonhole.
Yeah, where you bind off one stitch on one row, and then when you come back, you cast it back on. So, but the issue with that is you get this little thread right there. But it's all right. So I'm just having to figure out where to do that. I was trying to figure out some math of where to put those in. So I don't think that this pattern is like the most clear pattern. It's a basic one, but they just assume that you know how to do most things. So I just found it on Lovecraft's Hooded Jacket number 147-T17-436. That is the name. But it's really adorable, and I think this is going to be very cute. So when I'm done, we'll see how it goes. I think that it's simple enough that it would be a really cute staple to make, to, you know, make more of. Now, the yarn that I'm using was a gift from a friend. It's Plymouth Yarn Dream Baby DK, and it's 50% acrylic microfiber and 50% nylon. So there's no wool in it, but the thing that's really nice is that this can go in the washing machine and the dryer. And for babies, you need that.
Especially gift knits, when you are giving it to somebody else. You don't want to be like, here is something for you to have to take care of.
And this one feels so nice. I really like this one. So the color is 158. So that's what this color is.
There's something really nice about seamed knits too, in that you just knit a little piece.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you just knit another little piece. And then the seaming is not bad. Seaming is fun, actually.
It doesn't take long to make something this size. Actually, I knit 2 swatches to make sure that my gauge was right, and my swatches combined were the size of this. So, like...
I know, when you come to things like this, don't swatch. Just knit your piece, and then that's your
I wanted
swatch.
to make sure that it was going to be the right size, that it was going to fit a 3-month-old, and my swatch was right. I actually went down needle size because I thought that the gauge was... This says DK, but honestly, I feel like it's more of a sport weight. And so it was the gauge was right, but it was too open and loose. So I went down a needle size and, I went down a needle size and knit the 3-month size thinking it'll be a little bit smaller.
And it's still big.
It's still big. That's right. I was trying to figure out what I did and why I went down a needle size and what it did to that. And I thought, okay, well, that'll be closer to newborn, but no. So I would knit the newborn size next time if I wanted a 3-month size. So
that's good to know.
But it's really cute. It's not like a difficult one. It's a pretty simple one.
Awesome.
And I have it in my really fabulous project bag.
It's a good project.
This was the bag that the yarn was in. We had a swap at our knit night where people brought yarn or things that they didn't need or whatever, and we swapped. And so that was one of them that I came home with, and I thought, oh, this is the perfect yarn for this project that I wanted to do. So
that's awesome. All right, this is my last work in progress. This is in a gorgeous bag. Okay, so I have to tell the story about this bag.
You showed this one last time.
Oh, did I? Never mind. I love this bag. Okay, there you go. That was it. If you want to know more about it, go look at last time. I'm knitting also yarn that I got from the swap, which now I realize I'm in the middle of a row.
Oh,
I hate
do you want me to show one while you finish a row?
Yes, hurry. I'm going to hurry and knit this row.
Okay, because I have 2 more projects.
Good.
So
go for it.
I'll show you. I'm like, what's in this one? I can't remember. Okay, I remember now. I have a mini skein set that I'll show you at the end. But look at this.
That's so pretty.
So I was dyeing swatches for something, and they weren't exactly these colors, but then they inspired. I thought, I really want to do a mermaid inspired mini skein set. And so I ended up doing this. It's kind of a gradient. I used a few different colors of dyes in different ratios to kind of blend from one into the other. And so it goes like
I can't even help you because I'm knitting.
Goes like this.
So pretty.
So lighter green to darker green to a blend of these two here, lighter and then more gray. Then I'm like, what do I want to make with it? I want to make socks because you know how I like to make scrappy socks. Well, I've got a cuff done. That's all. But, you know, it's a beautiful cuff. I like knitting the cuff. I hate it. That was my least favorite part before because knitting and purling was so laborious. But now that I flick, I'm kind of a flicker, kind of a picker. I'm a combination of the two, of flicking and picking. So there's English style, continental style, there's flicking, picking, and throwing.
Yeah, but there's throwing and flicking are both English style.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's a lot of different variations of the way you hold your own. And then there's even, anyways. So I've got the cuff done, but I picked a pattern and it's called the Mermaid. No, that's not it.
Is that the one you're doing?
Well, it is, but it was just called Mermaid something else. Well, here it says Mermaid Ombre Fade by Summer Lee Knits. And I swear it was called Mermaid. Well, anyways, that's what it says on the pattern here. And I like it because it has this textured pattern that looks kind of like fish scales. And she has a recipe for fading your minis together, but she only used 4. So I've sat down and I've done the math to figure out what my measurements are of my sock that will be finished and how to divide it up to fade them together with 5 colors and where I need to start to fade it. So I'm going to be working away on that, but I've got a couple of projects still, but before I can focus too much more on
that's going to be gorgeous.
Sock,
that is going to be absolutely gorgeous.
I'm excited for that one. Okay.
So pretty.
And I bought that pattern on, I bought that one and the Stash Dive Raglan pattern on Etsy. Okay, let's see your shawl now.
Okay.
That you're not in the middle of a row.
So I'm using these 2 colors.
Did you get both of those?
This was all together. There were 2 skeins of each. These are both worsted weight. This is by Fleece Artist from Nova Scotia. And this colorway is called Sedona. This is the tag. And this one is called Mine Gold. I thought it was Gold Mine, but it's Mine Gold. And I got these from our same friend who was destashing them. And I'm like, that's a great project right there. So I am knitting, basically I am knitting the Farmhouse Shawl by Cabin 4. And I've kind of tweaked it a little bit. So I've changed the centered, well, I've kind of changed a lot of things.
Yeah. You use the cast on and the needle size.
Except for I'm using a different needle size. And basically, this was my inspiration. So I've changed the needle size. I've changed the garter edges. I've changed what increases are being used and how many rows are between.
So it's the same shape.
It's the same shape. It's the same idea where we've got alternating sections of stockinette and garter ridges. And I kind of really love how it's the variegated is kind of flashing a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then how it comes down here, it's got a different, sorry.
It's okay, I'll lose an eye, it's fine.
You've got another one. Anyway, you've got these kind of bluer sections, the browner sections, and then it kind of switched. When I finished the garter, it kind of swapped, and now I don't know, it's kind of, anyway, it's just turning out really cool. So it'll just have these alternating colors, and then it will end with the gold as the, I've got a big chunk still to go of this variegated, and then it will end with the gold and then have the fringe on it. And this is going to be a gift for a friend of mine who, these are a lot more her colors than mine, but I still think it's stunning and I love working on it. It's very easy. This was good car knitting for when we went to the Shakespeare Festival.
Oh, that mirrored here and on the other side.
Yeah, it's mirrored. Isn't that cool? It's just turning out so interesting. I'm not doing anything to manage it. It's just how it's coming out, and it's really pooling in a gorgeous way. And the colors are really lovely. So anyway, and it's got, I've done a slip stitch spine, and so that you kind of get this raised spine in the center, which I really like. This is a lovely worsted weight. I would say almost probably Aran weight. Let me look at that again. Wrong one. Where did I put everything? Yeah, so we've got 240 yards to 125 grams. So it's a worsted. And it's just really nice. It's really squishy and just lovely and got a lot of great body to it. It's also 100% merino, but I don't think it's superwash. It's it does say machine washable. Okay, so it must be a superwash. Anyway, it's beautiful. But this gorgeous yarn from Nova Scotia. And just really loving it. Not pretty. It'll be really great for my friend who is very much like earth tones and texture, bold colors. Mm-hmm. She will love it. Is this yours, Deborah? I don't think this.
Yeah, that was.
I don't remember having that in here.
Sock?
It could be.
Oh, it's probably from this. Which size is that?
You one, but a 32 inch. I don't usually use a 32. Yep.
I'm just realizing now that this episode should be sponsored by Summer Lee.
I know. I was going to say, you've got a lot of her stuff. That's so fun.
So I've been kind of on a color work kick for the last few months since knitting the It's a Small World After All cowl by Tanis Gray. I was telling her that I've knit color work before. I've done hat, I've done a very, like cardigan, some other things, but it wasn't really my favorite, but it clicked for me when I did that cowl. Something about her, the way she wrote it, I don't know, it just clicked for me and I loved it. So I've been doing quite a few different projects that use color work, and this is one of them. So this came from a sock set, like a series of socks, a collection. It has these 3 socks in it. And I want to say that it's her color work. I don't know. it doesn't say on here. It just says, because I only printed up the one that I'm knitting, version 3.
That's so cute.
So I got this also on Etsy, so you can see it on there. But if you go to Summer Lee Knits, I believe, or Summer Lee Designs, I'm trying to remember. Oh, Summer Lee Design. Okay, on Etsy, I think that's what it is. On Instagram, it's summer.lee.knits. There you go. And if you go to Ravelry, it's Summer Lee, but spelled differently. So, anyways, here, I'll show you there. There you go.
She has so many cute socks, too.
So cute. So I am not doing it exactly the same as her because I'll show you. So here's mine.
Oh my gosh.
So I have my Candy Crush sock set. It has this yarn. Oh, I love this one.
So pretty.
Love this one so much. Okay. This plus 2 20-gram minis.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
And my new Yarn Swift is garbage. I bought it from Knit Picks, and I'm just saying I haven't been able to wind a single cake that's not a mini successfully yet. So I need to get another new one. It's because it's not big. It doesn't open up big enough.
I know. It doesn't.
And I've also noticed, I mean, it's been a while, but all of my bare yarns, the hanks are bigger in diameter.
Yep, they are than they used to be.
And so it was already, like, on my other Swift, a challenge, and now it's impossible. So that's frustrating. So I need to get another one that's a bigger diameter that opens up better. So
all the bare yarns got, like, they're hanked.
Yes, their
now
hank is
in
now
a larger diameter
and I was
than they
going
used
to
to be.
contact them and ask them why and what's up with that, because I also have had to change. I'm switching over my yarn labels because they will no longer fit on there. So it also changes what they look like when you dye them up if they have a specific like pattern to it. So it's kind of frustrating that way. I mean, it's been a little while, but I just switched my Yarn Swift because when I redid my sewing room, it was one that was attached to something that I got rid of, and once I took it off, I couldn't use it anywhere else because it was bolted to it, like drilled into it. So knitting the sock, back to the sock. I used the navy blue on here for this part because that was the highest contrast, and then I love this turquoise. Just I love that. That part is so fun to knit. But I switched. I didn't do a short row heel because short row heels do not fit really well on me. And because they don't fit really well on me, and I did a heel flap, then it didn't really work for me to continue this stitch because it would mean I'd have to pick it up again after this, but it continues around the bottom and it wouldn't fit very well in here. And it's not that it's impossible, it didn't work really well. So I just decided to keep it just on the leg. Also, I like to switch back and forth. I know it's annoying, but it doesn't annoy me actually. I like to switch back and forth that when I do color work, the color work portion of my socks, I do it on a 9-inch circular needle, because then you don't have to go between needle 1 and needle 2 if you have to carry a float around and try to make sure that that gauge is right, because
that is hard.
It's really hard to keep that tension correct and even. And so if you're on a 9-inch circular, it's easy to keep it the same tension. And also when I'm doing that, I can spread my stitches out just a little bit on the right hand needle to give it just the right amount of give, so it fits over my heel just fine. It stretches just enough and just right that it fits just fine, but it's not loose. So I've just finished the gusset decreases, and now I'll just go down the foot.
Super
of it.
cute. I love that Candy Crush colorway. Oh my gosh. So
I don't need more socks for me, and the problem is that all the colors I want to knit, my family doesn't really care for, so I just keep knitting socks for me. But I don't need any more. Okay, need
what is need?
So anyways, I just keep knitting myself socks.
Oh man, they're so pretty. So
right.
pretty.
You said that was your last one?
That was my last one. No,
Okay, she's fading. She's wilting.
I'm just yawning. Oh my goodness.
All right, it is time for us to move on to our Kindness is Like Sugar segment featuring Emily.
So, oh my goodness, this was one where I was talking to my husband this morning and told him that I would be sharing this. And he said, "Oh, you haven't recorded a podcast since you got sick." And I said, "I know, there's so many things I could talk about." So I just have to highlight a few things. In mid-July, well, toward the end of July, I suddenly dropped out of life. And everything that I was in charge of, other people had to pick up. And that included even taking care of me, taking care of my family, taking care of all of my responsibilities. And there is a lot of fear in a time like that people are going to be not understanding, that they're not going to, I don't know, that you're going to be rejected because you're not useful, right? Mm-hmm. And I know that's a big, hidden fear that I think that a lot of us have, but it's definitely something I deal with. And so instead, the experience that I have had is that I have had so many people come out of the works, I'm trying to think of the right wording, woodwork to be just amazingly kind to me and understanding. And there have been a few people who are kind of like, "Oh, well, I guess, you just don't need to do anything anymore." And I'm like, okay, those few people you can let go, but most people have been amazingly supportive. And so I have to just highlight a few things, which number one is my husband has been amazing through all of this. And this has been really hard on him. And I had a lot of presupposed or preconceived ideas that he was thinking certain things that he wasn't, like that he's judging me or that he's discounting my struggles. And but as we've talked through them, it's just been amazing. And he's just more than ever is just my rock and my safety and just the best thing in my life. And so that's the main thing. My kids are awesome. They've been so sweet. But I wanted to comment on a couple of things. So one, my sister Deborah, who I'm just going to talk about. Yes. Who check on me regularly, even though she has had a lot of stuff she's been dealing with herself, and come and visited me and just checked in on me. And when I haven't had the words to say, she's known what to say. Which do that for me? I do have to say. It's been kind of I usually am the wordier person of the two of us, but and just been kind of like, again, a safety zone, And my sister Alexis, who is my baby sister, she lives about a half hour away. She's driven to visit me. She's brought me treats. She calls and checks on me. That's just means so much to have people do that. We have a great friend and viewer of this podcast named Anna Robin, who has sent me cards. And then she signed me up. She nominated me for something called Random Acts of Mail. And I got, I think, 80 probably cards in the mail from people I don't even know, just with good wishes. And so many of them were handmade cards and just beautiful little pieces of mail that have just been so, I don't know, it's just a really precious thing to have that happen. But what has been amazing to me is to see that a lot of times we invest in the people in our lives and we maybe think that, they take us for granted, or that we, maybe that it doesn't matter to people. But for somehow, I guess, I think my Heavenly Father knew I needed to see that my investment in people was bearing fruit, because I have just had the kindness of so many people, to kind of, it's been a reaffirmation that when you are trying to put kindness out into the world, that it comes back to you. And it's really, really come back to me a lot. And it's just really meant everything to me to know. And I don't think we always get to see, we don't always get to see that the things that we do have mattered to other people. But I've had a lot of people expressing that, and it's been really special to me. Thanks. I am so blessed. I can tell you that I have been so blessed, so lucky to have amazing people in my life, a wealth of great friends, and friends that feel like family, you know. And then I have to say one more thing that I'm going to spotlight. I have 2 little knitting groups that are WhatsApp groups. One that is a local one, and one that is my friends across the pond, you know. And these ladies have kept me going because I talk to them every day. And so they know who they are, but they are just some of the brightest spots in my life. We don't get to see each other in person regularly for our knitting, you know, our local people. We don't see each other every day. And for my friends who are in England, I don't see you ever in person, which is not fair. But they have just been such a huge support to me, because when you are, you know, my family has to keep living life, and they have to keep going. And sometimes I am just here by myself all day long, alone, and not, you know, feeling low or whatever. And so I get to talk to them, and they just keep me going. So this is more like a thank fest than anything, but I think that is what Kindness is Like Sugar is all about, is that lifting of other people. And so many people have been lifting me up and keeping me afloat. And you know, the main thing that it's done for me, it's inspired me. It's made me feel better myself, but it's also inspired me to want to continue to be that person for other people. That when somebody shows me kindness, it makes me want to turn around and do that for somebody else. It makes me want to lift another's burden, comfort somebody, just send them a card and say, I'm thinking about you and you matter. Pray for somebody, send them a text. You know, there's so many little things that we can do that really don't take us going out of our way. And then sometimes there are big things we can do too. And,
you know, I know that we have many viewers that have commented or may comment here that they feel that they don't have that support. They don't have anyone. And I will say there that you have to be the one. You have to initiate it. And the reason that we have the support we have is because the fruit that you said is, it is bearing fruit now. The effort is bearing fruit of putting in all of that time, that relationships, and they take sacrifice, and they take effort, and they take time and patience, and they take forgiveness, and they take putting down the things that we think we can't put down, the things we can't get past, the things that we think we can't, that are too big. And it just takes a lot of time. And I have spent a lot of my life really feeling kind of jealous of Emily's relationships that she's had for a long time, that she had a really great support system, and I felt that I was very alone and didn't have any other than Emily alone, you know, just Emily. And I would put in the effort, but it didn't always get reciprocated, you know, in the same way. And so I've just seen that persistence and keeping on and not thinking about myself, you know, and trying to just think, if I'm low, how can I lift another person? And by doing so, lift myself, you know?
absolutely.
So,
And now you're seeing it bear fruit, because you do have.
I do have that support system now. I have great support systems, you know, and I'm so thankful. And honestly, right here is one.
Yes,
our podcast is one of those, that we have relationships here through our viewers, through each of you, and I feel very blessed. And that's one reason why we come back, even when it's been a long time. because we have that relationship. And so I appreciate it.
Yeah. And we want to share that with you too. We want to be able to pray for you. We want to be able to lift you up and to help you to know that you're not alone. Because, and especially as, we kind of mentioned this, mental illness struggles. I think more than ever, so many of us are dealing with depression and anxiety and loneliness more than we ever have before. And it is a hard thing, but again, it has within it the ability to be a great thing. Yeah. And so because that can move us to do something for each other, to make decisions for ourselves, but to do stuff for each other. And we need each other.
We see that here from our viewers so much.
Yep.
So much.
I think that there's something, Deborah and I get comments a lot about, you're always so light, you're always so bright, you're always so cheerful. Mm-hmm. And we really are cheerful people, but don't let that make you think that we don't have those struggles. Like we do. Both of us are struggling with, if I want to say it, with depression and anxiety, and we're both dealing with that. We both have family struggles, and we go through all the same things too. I think that the difference, or maybe not the difference, but what you see here is that in spite of all of that, we still are joyful people. Mm-hmm. We still have joy because
we're not sweeping it under the rug and hiding it. We're like, what is it that we want to put out into the world?
Yeah.
And choosing the things that we want to help lift and build.
And our faith gets us through so many things too. I mean, without that, I think it would be a lot harder for us to continue to have that, but it just brings so much peace. So anyway, that was kind of a lot to all share there, but we want you to feel that same kindness and everything that I was just talking about. We want you to feel it too.
Yeah.
So we hope you will give it. We hope that when you need it, you will be able to receive it.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Shop news.
Yep.
Shop news. I have some shop news.
Yay.
I brought a lot of yarn. I didn't bring all the yarn. I have been dyeing a lot of yarn. And I have a lot in my shop right now. And I have some fun things coming up. So the socks that I showed earlier, right? Oh, they're too far away. My husband's socks. The yarn was so beautiful. I tried to recreate it. And look.
Ooh.
Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen this already because I dyed this a little while ago, but it's been a long time since we recorded a podcast. So you can see how these are more narrow and long.
Yeah.
And my labels don't quite fit. So I'm redesigning labels here. So that one's beautiful. I've got some fall colors, some really beautiful autumnal ones. This one is Frosty Pumpkin Cider. And this one is a new one. This one's called Flying Cauldron.
I love that one.
This one was inspired by a soda at our local market. And it's a butterbeer flavor. Mm-hmm. And the packaging is in these colors. It was just fabulous packaging. So I loved this one, and so beautiful fall colors. And then this is the first year I dyed yarn. This is Polyjuice, because it's all of the crazy ingredients thrown into one crazy concoction. And
that.
So these are some really great fall ones, along with, I told you about the Ocean Paradise Punch is the name of this mini skein set. And so all of these I think are just really great for this time of year. And then I said I would never dye it again, but I did.
Oh,
I did Minnie's Sweet Shop. The reason that it's because it takes 2 to 3 times longer to dye this skein than any other, because every color that I put on there, the speckles bleed unless I set them extra long. So, and I have to do them all individually instead of, piling them on. But it's just so fun. So it's on a really pale pink and cream variegated base with a whole bunch of fun speckles, and then 2 20-gram minis. So that one is going to be in the shop update this Friday. And then I started doing Christmas colorways. So I'm bringing back some favorites. So this one isn't technically a Christmas one, but I dyed it at Christmas time. So to me, in my head it is, but it's really not. It's a great fall one. This one is Hansel and Gretel. And it's got, you can't see it, must be tucked in there, deep blues. And then it's got greens and browns and reds and just lots of colors. And then this one, spruce. And this one I dyed actually inspired by the hotel that we like to stay at, the Grand Californian, and the I just forgot the name of it, but when you go into California Adventure, the section right there outside of the hotel, it's
like the Grizzly
Peak. Grizzly Peak? I don't remember, but that section anyways. And then here's the really Christmassy ones. Here's peppermint twist sock set.
That's so
and I
cute.
had a really sweet viewer send me yarn, or not yarn, fabric. I sewed project bags last year with fabric that went with this set, but they were such a hit that I didn't keep one for myself, and I was really sad. She found the fabric, ordered it, and sent it to me so I could make myself one. So I'm gonna have a set here and make
Were those the ones with
bag.
little peppermint candies? I love those bags.
That was probably my favorite bag that I've ever made.
So cute.
And it was really sad to let it go. So that was really sweet. And then 7 levels of candy cane forest. And then these are from the winter fruits. Collection is cranberry, has reds and deep purples. And then this one is pomegranate that has plums and pinks and reds. And then sugar plum.
That's so pretty.
So,
oh my goodness,
okay.
I want all of these. I feel like I need to make Richardson socks out of spruce.
You got spruce, didn't you?
I think I
swear
might
you-
have.
I
I think
think
I
you
made
do.
Richardson socks out of spruce.
I thought you did. I made Jason
Maybe
some
that's
socks.
why I need to do that. That's why I feel that way.
I made Jason
already did
socks
that.
out of these.
Never mind. I already did that last year.
Yeah. Well, you could knit another one if you want, but I think you did.
That would be so funny. Here, look what don't I already have this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is something I'm really.
I don't know what
excited
this is, and now
Okay.
I'm like dying to know.
I am starting a seasonal mini skein collection, but it's called the Seasonal Bonbon Box. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So in the bonbon box will be 5 colorways, and I'm going to show you here. And this is the one for fall, and it's called Cinnamon Spice and Everything Nice.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like your little box of truffles, you know? And they're just little minis. So I wanted really deep and rich and saturated and earthy, just warm tones. And so here's the one for fall. So I will carry these throughout the fall, and then I will have one for Christmas, and I'll have one for winter. So they will be changing and only available through that season. So these are going to be heading into the shop on Friday, and they come in a beautiful box here. So it's going to be really fun.
Oh my word.
I'm really
that is
excited about this
so
one.
Cute. So you're going to do them not every month, but just every season, or when you feel like.
Yeah, I'm deciding. I know I will do a Christmas one. I'll have a winter one. I will have a Valentine's.
Oh,
one.
okay.
And then I'll decide from there what types
Just special
of
editions.
special occasions.
There
I'm
you
just
go.
calling it the seasonal
They're perfect.
bonbon mini boxes.
I just want to know so I can
So you can
be prepared.
So they're 10-gram minis. I just want you to know they're not 20, but I'm really loving these because they're so tonal. There's lots of colors in each of these skeins.
Oh,
like there's
so pretty.
base colors and lots of just a lot of
So that's a
richness to this
50-gram
one.
box.
Yep.
Then. Nice.
Yep. So these are definitely good ones for gifts. Or I'm just picturing what I would like is to have them and have a stack of these because I'm a collector.
Oh my goodness.
And just to see them stacked up, and then you've got the different ones and put, like, I'd make something with them, but I'd want to collect them. That's me.
true.
That's me.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
that's what I'm working on right now. And then I will be releasing a mystery club. I have not done one before. I have hesitated to do that because I always am worried that people are going to get it and go, you know, like you don't know what you're going to get, but there's so many people that love the mystery clubs and I love them. So I'm going to be doing one, and it's all based on attractions at Disneyland. So it'll be a monthly club, and that will get listed not this Friday, but it's going to start up shortly after that. So it will just be each month will be a new
Club.
attraction.
A new
attraction. So I'll let you know what the attraction is, and then you can just purchase that month. You don't have to sign up for a whole, subscription.
That's so exciting, Deborah.
That's what's going on.
And the thing is that when people know that they love your yarn, then they know they're going to love whatever it is. So I think that's awesome. How fun.
I want people, when they get their yarn, to get it and say, that's what I pictured. That's what I saw in the picture. Not get it and go, oh, that's not what I was expecting. So that's always my concern, is making sure that people are getting what they're expecting. If you don't know what you're expecting, then I guess
the surprise is all the fun. Yes.
But I'm excited for it. So
sounds awesome. Well, yay.
All right.
That's the end.
We made it through the end. You're upright.
Yay.
I mean, I'm being silly.
I know. I'm doing a lot better, so it's good. But it is good to be here.
All right. Have a good time.
Yep.
We'll see you again in the future.
See ya.